grow up?
Grew up in Dundas.
I grew up at Padstow in the 1950s. I was born in 1946 and grew up in Padstow on the farm in Padstow. Okay.
How did you travel to and from school? Did anyone travel with you?
School, I used to ride my bike to school. It wasn't too far. It was probably 500 metres. High school, I lived 3 doors from the high school, so I just walked to school and back.
I travelled on the Dennis half cab from West Bankstown bus service up to school every day and caught the bus back. It cost me a penny.
Things
Yep.
did you do after school?
School, I would be either riding on my bike, going to friends' houses, playing, going to football training or cricket training or swimming training, or playing down we had a creek down the back of my house. I'd play down there with my friends and my brothers. But yeah, usually I'd be out doing something after school.
Of course, we lived on a farm. I'd either fed the animals or got my air rifle out and shot doves and fed them to the pigs.
Did you have birthday parties? What were they like?
Yeah, I used to have birthday parties when I was in primary school. Usually just at our house, or we might go to McDonald's or something like that. Usually just have my school friends and my sport friends over.
Yes, I had birthday parties, not a great deal, but I liked them because I got good presents at the birthday parties.
How did you spend your school holidays?
Days, me and my parents and my brothers would usually either go up to the Central Coast where my grandparents lived, when all my cousins would go up there and we would have a couple of weeks up there, or we would either go to a place at Palm Beach where one of my relatives had a holiday house, and we would go fishing and going to the beach, just playing cricket, doing normal sort of stuff. But usually we go away somewhere.
Sometimes we went away on holidays up to the entrance or just on the farm with all the family and the cousins.
What sort of toys did you play with?
And most of the stuff that I played with was like my sporting equipment, like my bike or my cricket bat or my footballs or tennis rackets. It was mostly sporting stuff.
I played with my dinky toys, which I've still got, which are worth a lot of money now.
Did you have a hobby?
I didn't have really any one particular hobby, but I guess sports were my hobby. Playing football, playing cricket, playing tennis, doing swimming. They were probably my hobbies. Playing golf. That's about it.
Yes, I had a hobby collecting dinky toys, and to the to the detriment of my wife, I still collect dinky toys and get into trouble for buying them.
Did you have a computer at home?
I got a computer with my brothers when I was about 13 or 14. Well, we just used it to play computer games. It was a Commodore 64, which is a lot different to what the computers are like now.
When I was growing up, the only computer that in the world was Colossus, which they made during the Second World War at Bletchley Park in the UK.
Spend time with your extended family. What did you do?
Yeah, I used to spend a lot of time with my cousins and my aunties and uncles when we used to all go away on school holidays up to my grandparents. So yeah, we'd be always playing games of cricket, going to the beach. We also used to get together for birthday parties. So yeah, I saw a lot of my cousins growing up.
No.
All the cousins lived at Padstow, and there was my brother and the two boy cousins. We played cricket together and just had lots of fun together.
What sort of food did you love? Did you have a favourite meal? How often did you eat it?
My favourite meal was a baked dinner, which we used to always have on a Monday night for dinner.
as we lived on a chicken farm, we had chicken quite often, but chicken in the 50s was a luxury, cost a lot of money. But my favourite back then was live doves. No, just kidding. Fish and chips from the fish shop.
How often would have you gone to a restaurant?
Oh, that's a hard one. Not very often. We didn't go we'd go to McDonald's now and again, but to fancy sit-down restaurants, maybe on birthdays for either me or my brothers, that would be about the only time we'd go to restaurants growing up.
We never went to restaurants. McDonald's and Kentucky didn't hit to the 70s, and restaurants weren't, the nearest restaurant to our place was 10 miles away. It's a long way to walk.
What time were you able to play until? Where did you play?
We were usually sort of allowed to play to around before it got dark, especially in summer. Maybe in winter when it wasn't as warm, we couldn't play outside that late. But yeah, I'd be either riding around in my bike somewhere, or playing cricket down the back, or down the creek, playing in the creek, or going swimming in the pool. So yeah, I could be anywhere.
I could play to 5:30, 6 o'clock. We could play in the park across the road from where I lived. It's a large park which still exists, and we played soccer and football and rode bicycles and just had lots of fun. Or we could come back and shoot doves when we were finished.
Were you when you left school?
Let me think. It was a long time ago. I was 17 when I left school.
What was your first job?
My first job was picking up golf balls from the driving range, where people would try and hit me with golf balls when I was on the driving range. So it was a dangerous job.
Surprising.
As a proper job, when I left school, I worked at Sunbeam as a sales clerk at Sunbeam.
Who was your first girlfriend or boyfriend?
Oh, that's a personal question. There was a long list, but I think my first girlfriend was called Katrina.
I went to a co-ed school in high school, and there was plenty of girls there, and etc. But my first real girlfriend was my wife, who I married. Okay, proper girlfriend. Suck.
How do you think Australia has changed since you're my age?
Oh, that's a really good question, Luke. These days there's a lot more technology advances than when I was a boy. There was no mobile phones, there was no iPhones, there was no iPads. Not everyone had computers. Everything these days seems to be done using them. There was no Facebook or any of those things. If you wanted to see your friends, you'd have to go around and see them. You wouldn't text them or Facebook them. There's
Summing up.
yeah, I'm trying to think what else. There's a lot more. The roads are better than when I was growing up. There's a lot more cars on the road. Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of anything else.
That had taken hour to change, but basically when I went to school, it was an Anglo-Saxon world that we lived in. Now we live in a multicultural world, for better or for worse. There was no electronics, life was simple, but on the upstage. Today, medical science has given us extra life. Infant mortality has extended the life of a lot of people. You know, kids just don't die young anymore. Men don't die at 67, they die at 82. Women don't die at 71, they die at 80, 89. Life is better today than it was 50 years ago.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate your time in this interview. I've put you on the spot for some questions, but nevertheless.
Thank you very much, Luke.
Thank you, Waddy. I appreciate your time for this interview.
It's a pleasure.